Hi, I'm Mr. Lineweber, and this is 1.4 Applications of Set Theory. And essentially this video will cover 3 set Venn diagram problems for Math 30-2. To begin, we'll just do some shading and identify some regions in a 3 set Venn that you're going to be responsible for. Alright, so let's start with the intersection A and B. A and B can be represented with symbols A intersect B. And so we're looking for the members that are in A and B. So they have to be shading the 2 sections that overlap from each circle. And it is okay that we shade into C because, again, we're just focused on A and B. And it's like if C wasn't there, you would still have to shade that football shape for the intersection. On the side, we can do A or B, A union B, written with symbols. And this is the union, which is much more inclusive. So we shade all of A, and then we shade all of B, and you can see that the union, the intersection gets shaded twice. That's why in that formula, when you count up the union, you have to subtract the intersection for overlapping sets. Also, it's okay, just like in the last example, that we shade into C, because if C wasn't there, this would still be the union A or B. A and not B. So I'm just going to shade and not write with symbols. So basically you're going to be shading A so I have to shade members of A and not B. So what you can see there is that I've shaded the section that does not overlap with B. So when you think about the AND, you're thinking about all of the members that are in both sets. So I gotta shade all of the members that are in A as well as all the members that are in not B. Now not B is going to, I'll just draw it on the side here with B down here. So not B is everything in the universe that's not B. And so the section that gets shaded for the intersection, so it's those that got shaded in both. So when you shade A by itself, then all of this gets shaded. So that's A. This is not B. And so the section that got shaded in both diagrams is this section out here. And so that's why we shaded it like that. Now with that in mind, I can move forward shading a little bit easier. So A and not B. So like I like to do is just highlight the sets and then the operators between them. So it's all of A and not B and not C. So if we were to do something similar on the left, we'd end up with a section that was this piece of A where none of B and none of C gets shaded. And so this section here is the A only. Now let's compare this one that we just did to this next one here. So it's A and B rather than not B. So it's basically saying shade the A and B, which would be the football shape. But then it says not C. So when I go to do the football shape, I would not be allowed to enter C there. And then the last one wants A and B and C, so that's all three at the same time. So this is the small section in the middle. And then for the next question, and most of the questions that you get with 3 sets, the middle is the key. And so often you have to start in the middle and then work your way out. And so often you're given this value in the middle, and then using the intersections like this up here, then we can get the missing piece. So usually we get this piece next, and then this piece here from the clues in the question, and moving forward I'll show you that. This page has a lot of notes, and you can read it if you like, and you'll never have to use this formula. It's just way too much. And there's some nice hints down here at the bottom, and I'll use those hints when I'm doing this next question. Okay, so here's your classic 3-set Venn problem. Each member of a sports club plays at least one soccer, rugby, or tennis. So I'll label the sets soccer, rugby, tennis like this. And the universe is the sports club. And it says that at least one of that each member plays at least one. So that means we have 0 on the outside in the universe. So there's nobody that's in the club that doesn't play at least one sport. And I'll just go through these sections individually so you have a good sense of what each section represents. So this section here that I'm highlighting, that's the soccer only. Out here, this is the rugby only. Down here, this is the tennis only. Now let me work from the middle. This is all 3. Now I want you to think about the football shapes. And so this football shape, if I highlight it, this football shape refers to soccer and tennis. These are the people that play both of those sports, soccer and tennis. So 7 play that. What that means is that these 2 sections, when you add them up, you get 7. And so if 4 play all 3 sports, the middle, and 7 play tennis and soccer, then that football shape has to have a total of 7. So 7 minus 4 equals 3. So this whole shape has to add up to 7. And what the mistake is when people do this is they'll put 7 here. And then it means that there's actually 11. So then that would contradict that. So that's the only real mistake you can make, is by not adjusting for what's already there. Okay, so let's highlight another section. Let's do the next one here. 6 play soccer and rugby. So soccer and rugby will be the football shape connecting S and R. And so we already have 4 people that play soccer and rugby as well as tennis, but that's 4 has to be counted. So that means that 6 is the total there, so this has to be 2. Now let's go to the... Okay, and so I have to actually move up here, because what I'm looking for is the next football shape, so over here. And so that next football shape, remember these are the ands, so I need now the tennis and rugby. So that's just up one more clue there. And so that totals 11. And remember that we already have 4 in the middle, so this must be 7. So the whole football itself is 11. Alright, so looking at the remaining clues, I have 3 clues that I can try to work with next. And so the next 2 clues at the bottom here say or, and so that would be everything. So let's try the first one here. 84, play rugby or tennis. So when I look at rugby or tennis, that's all of this. All of rugby, all of tennis, it's the or, it's very inclusive. And I see that I have 2 unknowns, and so I can't do that clue next logically. Similar thing happens with the soccer or rugby. When I look at the or for soccer or rugby, that's these 2 sets, I see 2 unknowns, so I can't go after these 2 clues next. That means I must have to try this clue up at the top with the 43, play tennis. So tennis, the set of tennis is all of this circle, and it's made out of 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and there's 3 that are already known, so there's only 1 unknown here. So I can do this question next, the 43 that play tennis. So 43 total play tennis. That's this whole circle. But remember that I already have a 3, a 4, and a 7 in that. So I have to subtract those out. And so that's 29. So 29 goes here. All right. So now I can try the clue that included tennis because I eliminated one of those unknowns. So I can go after this 84 now that play rugby or tennis. Okay, so for the rugby or tennis, I already have in there a 2 plus a 4 plus a 7 plus a 3 plus a 29. So that's already been counted. Let me add that up quickly. So that is 45. And the clue says that there can only be 84 playing rugby or tennis. So 84 take away 45. That's 39. So that's going to go up here. Check that one off. And the only one that's left is this 68 plays soccer or rugby. So let's go find soccer or rugby. That's all of this, soccer or rugby. And so that's S, union, soccer or rugby. Okay, and so let's count up what's already in there. So we have a 2 plus a 3 plus a 4 plus a 7 plus a 39. Let's add that up quickly. This 55, and the clue says that it has to be 68 total there. So 68 take away 55 is 13. And so we've displayed this information in the Venn diagram. How many members does the club have? So we just have to add up each one of these sections individually, and we will get the total for the club. So 13 plus 2 plus 39 plus 3 plus 4 plus 7 plus 29 is 97 in total. So that's the last question that I'm going to do in these notes. Next, I'm just going to give you some direction for the rest of this section. So the try on your own, this one's a good question to try. Check my website for solutions to the notes. For this next question on 165, I thought I'd get you started because there should be an image there. So you can just pause the video here to get that image, and what it is the first 2 clues. So this one's done, this one's done. The image is given over here, and I've started A and B for you, and so you have to start at C to continue the process until all numbers have been placed. And remember that the star from the notes was that you always start in the middle and start to work your way out by adjusting for what's already been counted. And remember that you work with the ands first when you're starting from the middle and working your way out. And so the next one, 43, for orange and Coke, you have to look at, I'll highlight it for you. You'd have to look at this football shape. And remember that that whole football has to be 43. And so you'd have to adjust 43, take away 25. You don't just put 43 there. That's the mistake. You don't do that. Okay, so I'll let you finish that off. The challenge on the next page, I wouldn't worry about at this point.